So without further ado, though, setting the floor and the ground for our discussion, I want to hear first from Baba Anthony Courtney, who has been sharing with others, share with me his thoughts about the moment in the movement. I made it alliterate, but he talked about the importance of the movement. So we're going to hear from him. The floor is yours just to share kind of where we are and how we need to be thinking about this moment in the movement. And then after that, we will hear from Brother Wyman Winston. If you have questions or comments, feel free to drop them into the chat so we can capture them and answer them as we go along. I expect us to go about 45 minutes at most to an hour, unless the conversation gets rich and thick because you all choose to have it be that way. But I'm going to put it now into the hands of Baba Courtney. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Welcome, brothers, to the call. Glad to hear from you, see you. I just want to start out by saying this, is we are at a period of time that I refer to as a 60-year cycle historically. 60 years ago, 1960, I became a teenager in 1960. I'm 14 years of age. And during that period of time, we were involved in the civil rights movement. And then from there, by the time I graduated from high school, we went into the college. We went into still in the civil rights, but then in midstream, 66, we turned into the Black Power movement. And so we were at a time when our energies in terms of Black people, and especially as Black men, we were challenging the existing system to make change, doing both of those movements. And that lasted at least until the 1980s. When I first came to Milwaukee in 74, which I've been here 50 years now, Milwaukee had one of the highest standards of living economically for Black people in America, because all of the factories was here. There was all kind of jobs going on. People were making $20 plus an hour. They could walk out of one job and go across the street and get another one. A lot of men were having their sons to come in and work at the same jobs they were doing. Brothers and sisters was able to buy houses, get married, have children, buy cars. This at that time was known as Cadillac City. If you listen to the radio, you saw all the ads came from Metropolitan, Nodell Cadillac. If you didn't want a Cadillac, you went to Jack White Ford and got you a Lincoln. So life was good. And so what took place in terms of economically, but as we began to go along, we began to see that what was happening, the society began to lay its attacks on Black men in terms of the various different organizations that was taking place at that time. And so then by 1980, what I saw was two things happen. NAFTA came in, the factories got moved to Hong Kong, Taiwan, China, Dominican Republic, Mexico. So a lot of brothers that had jobs, now that was eliminated. And at the same time, crack cocaine was put in the community. So it was on a slide. But what takes place is 60 years from 1960, we hit 2020, okay? And that's a cycle. Every 60 years, our energy is back up now. People are becoming more awake in this time. In 1964, the Civil Rights law was passed. In 1965, the Voting Rights Law was passed. And now we're seeing that with the whole onslaught of 2025, a lot of these things are on the verge of being taken away. So this is the very important thing about what takes place. So as men, we have begun to once again take the lead, even though it may not look like it, but we're at the top of our game right now. And all we have to do is take charge, influence our families, influence our youth, provide the group example of them seeing us together, not only what we need to do individually, but what we also need to do together. And one of the main things is don't blame any brother in terms of what they said. We don't need no drama, because the success of this election will depend on how we interact and what example we are setting as Black men with the rest of our community, with our women as well. We are the fix-it people as Black men. We are the fix-it people. Our women are expecting us to fix it. So what we doing long after this, the day after the election, we still got to make sure that we have circle of wagons amongst ourselves and pushing ahead for what we need to have accomplished. That's all I wanted to add in.
I appreciate that. Go ahead, brother Wayman. Go ahead and lay your tracks, and then we'll keep it moving.
I was saying, as elders, we need to come out every opportunity wherever we go to promote the vote of our young men and young women, because a lot of times in my family, a lot of the people out here, they don't necessarily know who to vote for. They're not following politics, but my family will call me and say, well, Baba, who should I vote for? And then I tell them, and then that's what they go do, because a lot of them haven't, they're trying to survive, but they do understand, because I've looked at the turnout at the polls. It's been fantastic so far. So it's not like our people are not awakened now. They're woke. A lot of times we just want to make sure that they go and do vote for the right folks.
All right. Appreciate you. Brother Wayman is back, I think.
Again, picking up where Tony left off in the 2016 and 2020, Black men played a critical role. Both the situation that brought Wisconsin into the fight around this issue of stolen votes in 16 and 20 all came about because they came out of the Black community. And if you listen to the other side talk, their view is it can't be possible that Black people came out in those numbers that made the difference. And again, that I described what Tony laid out in that period of the reemergence of Black nationalism. That is a political philosophy that focuses on advancing the political, social, and economic interests of Black people. Just that simple. And we have been very successful in the current elections. We have a foundation of turnout that is phenomenal. And just looking at the amount of activities around the city, it is going to be another phenomenal next Tuesday. Voting is critical, but without voting tied to political strategy, what do we want for our community, that's in the context of the political structure of city, school board, state, and federal government, that becomes the basis of our being able to hold our elected officials to what our expectations are. And this becomes important because the ballot or the bullet, we have enemies. And right now, the enemies are the folks who have the ability to control campaign financing across all the local elections. Whoever funds our elected official become their elected officials, and we don't have a structure to do that. Nor do we have a structure yet to build an approach of how we could advise, counsel, support, defend, and reject actions that occur at the city, county, school board, and state. Typically, our activities have been ad hoc and on an event and something that spur us. What's missing is an ongoing structure that can be in place that can leverage and amplify the dynamic what's occurring in our community. And I think the work that we're doing provides that platform. That is, we need a political backbone that can be the place where it is already organized, the people can leverage that and do great work. And we've seen examples of that in Milwaukee that, as I say, go back over the last 30 years, maybe even before that. I've only been here the last 30 years. And so Milwaukee has done really great work. The question is, can we leverage that in those other areas, political influence and checking how money's used to influence and have people make decisions that's contrary to Milwaukee Black community interests.
All right. Well, thank you. That is a good high level executive summary of where we are. Appreciate that sharing. Baba Courtney, anything you want to add to piggyback on that, and then anything you heard that you wanted to add another nuance or?
Yeah, I would think that at this time, we've only got a few days, but as many opportunities as we can get to show up to different things that are going on as Black men as a group, not just individually going to, but being go 10, 15, 25 strong to different things to walk in the door. So our presence, a lot of times you don't have to say nothing. If you can walk in an event 20, 25 strong, that creates a presence. That sends a message unto itself. So as many times as we could get that done, it's one thing to go to a place individually, but when you go together as a group, people pay attention and then push, the mission.
Very good. Appreciate that. And I want to